Okay, welcome back. We are now going to learn how to add the rib stitch to your cardigan. So this is a bit that I think really brings it to life. So I'm excited about this bit for you guys. So you should now have done your panel extensions if you are going to be doing them. So here's mine, and as you can see, I've added one row of extensions up each panel. So here is that front panel. As you see, it's one line on each side. And it's going all the way up to the top of the jacket or the cardigan. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start in our bottom corner again. And what you're going to need for this one is the colour of yarn that you're going to add your rib stitch in. And I'm actually going to use this really bright yellow colour for mine. So just like before, we're going to find our bottom stitch. There's mine. Pop in your hook. You're going to grab your yarn and pull that through. And then we're just going to tie that in, like we always do. Put the hook back through and pull up a loop. So the way that we are doing the rib stitch is something called a front post, back post, double crochet. And to start that off, you're going to need to do 2 chains. So you're going to start by doing a chain, 1, 2, and those 2 chains are going to become your first stitch in this row because we're going to be working up this row again. So let's turn our garment so we can see what we're doing. Here we are. So what we're going to do is we're going to be working, instead of into the chains along the edge, we're going to be working underneath or over the top of these little posts which we made in our last row of double crochet. So if you didn't do an extension row, you would just be working into the ones below, so the ones of the granny stitch, and that's exactly the same. It works exactly the same, so don't worry if you haven't done an extension row. So just like a normal double crochet, we're going to yarn over, but instead of going into this chain here, we are going to put our hook in the big hole next to the post. So we're going to put it in the big hole, and then we're going to put it underneath the post and out of the big hole on the other side. Then we're going to yarn over here and pull that through. And what you'll have is you'll have your normal 3 loops on the hook, but instead of it being through the chain, you will have your working yarn underneath this post. And this is a front post double crochet. So just like normal, we're going to yarn over and go through 2, then yarn over and go through 2. I don't know if you can see that, but the reason it's called a front post double crochet is because it pushes, that yarn behind it pushes the post forward. Okay, so that is a front post double crochet. So now we're going to do a back post double crochet. So again, we're going to yarn over like a normal double crochet, and we are going to take our hook behind our work, and we're going to put it up through the hole, and then over the top and back down the other side. So what you'll have is you'll have your hook going over the top of your next post. I'm going to grab your yarn and you're going to pull it all the way through. So you'll have your 3 loops on the hook, and you'll have a bit of working yarn on top of the next post. And you're going to yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. And can you see that that one has pushed the post to the back of the work? So you've got a double crochet, a front post double crochet because it's pushed the work to the front, and then a back post double crochet because it's pushed the post to the back. And what you do is you alternate these 2 front post and back post crochets all the way along this row, and it starts to create what looks like a rib stitch. So I'm going to show you front post again. So it's yarn over, in from the front to the back of the next hole, and back through underneath your working post. Grab your yarn and pull it through. 3 loops on the hook. And you're going to yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. And that's a front post double crochet. So our next one is a back post double crochet. So we yarn over, and on a back post double crochet, we work from the back. So we're going to put our hook from back to front, and then back down to the back. Grab our yarn and pull it all the way through. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Can you see that pattern starting to emerge, where you've got a front, a back, a front and a back? Looks just like a knitted rib stitch. So we're going to carry that on now. So our next one is a front post. So it's yarn over, in from the front to the back, and back round to the front, underneath the working post. And we're going to yarn over and pull that yarn through. So we've got our 3 loops on the hook. Grab your yarn, through 2, yarn over, through 2. That's another front post. Now it's time to put another back post in. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to come round to the back of our work and come up to the front, and then back to the back. Grab your yarn and pull it through both. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2. Next is a front post. Yarn over, from the front, round to the back, and back to the front again, with our working post at the front. Yarn over, bring your yarn through. So now you've got your 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and go through the first 2, yarn over and go through the next 2. Front post double crochet. Now we're going to do a back post double crochet. So yarn over, round to the back of your work, up to the front, and back round to the back. Grab your yarn, pull it through. Post is pushed backwards. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. I'm going to carry that on. So I'm going to do a few more with you. I'm going to do the rest of this square nice and slowly, and then I will speed up on the next few, and then I'll meet you back when we get to the top. So our next one is a front post. So it's a yarn over, in, under and back through. Working post is on the top. Grab your yarn and pull it through. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Back post double crochet. Round to the back, up to the front and back round to the back. Working post is behind the hook. Yarn over, back through. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Front post double crochet. Yarn over, in from the front, post is on the top. Yarn over, pull it back through. Yarn over through the first 2, yarn over through the second 2. Now we're going to do a back post. So yarn over, round to the back of your work, up through the centre, back down, post is behind the hook. Yarn over through to the beginning. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, so we've got 2 more now. So we're going to do a front post next. It's a yarn over from the front to the back with the post on the top. Yarn over and pull it through. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Now back post. Yarn over, round from the back of the work to the front, and then back round to the back. Post is behind the hook. Grab your yarn and pull it through. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And there you have your first square's worth of front post, back post, rib stitch. So we're going to carry on now. We're going to do the next one. I'm going to do a few with you, and then I will probably pause the video and meet you at the end. Okay, so there you have your 2 squares worth of front post, back post, rib stitch. And what you're going to do is you're just going to carry that on all the way along your front panel, right up to the top here. And when you've done your stitch in this last post, I'm going to join you back here to show you what to do. Okay? Okay, welcome back. So you should now have completed your rib stitch down one of the sides of your front panels. So we've gone down the left hand side here. It's officially the right hand side if you're wearing it, so it gets a bit confusing, but this is the left hand side as it is facing me. I've gone all the way down the front, and I've now got to the top of my neckline, and I've got, if you can see that, I've got one space left, one stitch left. So what we're actually going to do with this pattern is we're going to continue this rib stitch in one continuous motion all the way up the side, around the neck, around the back of the neck, back around to the front, and then back down this other side in one continuous piece of work. So I'm going to show you how we're going to go around that corner now. So put my hook back in. So you've got to your penultimate post of your previous row. So I've got one post left here. So what you're going to do, we're just going to do normal double crochets here, but we're going to do 3 of them into this chain space, the space between the stitches. So it's yarn over, into the space, grab your yarn, bring it up, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and then the same again, yarn over, into the space, pull up your yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and can you see that starting to turn around the corner? So now we're going to do it again. Yarn over into the space, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and there you have a nice rounded corner going back around your work, and you're now ready to start working along this neckline here. So we're going to carry on, we're going to do our front post and back post all the way around the neckline now, and when we get to the shoulder I'm going to show you what to do here. Okay, so first stitch is here along this join, so it's a yarn over, and we're going to make this a front post double crochet now. So front post, and then the next one's a back post. Front post, back post. And then don't worry about this gap, that's because we're working into the granny stitches now, but it will even itself out. So next one is a front post, so we're going to go straight into this next granny stitch. Back post. Getting closer to our granny our corner even here now. So now next is a front post, back post, and then I like to treat that seam just here as a post. So if you're going down the side here and then back up on the other side, making sure you've got 2 chains above it, and do your double. You can see that just seamlessly joins it into the neckline then. So then I'm going to carry on. So you might want to now, I'm going to flip my work so that I'm now looking at the back of my cardigan, because I've now come around that shoulder seam and I'm about to work across the back of the neck. So just like before, I've just done a front post, and now I need to do a back post. Next is a front post. Okay, so we're going to carry on like this, and I'm going to meet you back when we come back round to the front of our work, when you get back to this top corner. Okay, so I'll see you there in a moment. Okay, so we've gone all the way around the neckline now. You see, all the way around, and I've now got to this piece here. So this is the top of my other side panel. And just like before, we're going to turn this corner. We're going to do it with 3 double crochets into the chain space. So it's yarn over, chain space, pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. There's your first one. There's the second one. And the third. There you have it. You're now ready to work back down this side panel, and just like before, we're going to simply repeat the front post, back post all the way down. So wherever you left off with your last one, mine was a front post, so my next one will be a back post, and I'm going to carry that on all the way down this panel until I get to the bottom, and I'm going to meet you there. Okay, so you should now have completed your first row of front post, back post, double crochet, rib stitch, and that should go all the way from the bottom of your front panel all the way up this seam, around the top of the neckline, and back down all the way to the bottom here. And as you can see, here's my working loop. You should have gone all the way to the bottom, so you've got a nice straight line along that bottom. So the next step is potentially, anyway, if you're happy with your rib stitch looking like this, you can leave it here. Personally, I like to add a few rows of the rib stitch so I get like a chunky edge to my cardigan, but it's personal taste. So if you're happy with it like this, feel free to stop there. Just simply finish off your work and weave in those ends. But if you're going to carry on and add some sort of width to this edging, this is how you do that. So you're going to start back where you were. So here we are. Let's move this out of the way. So I've got to the end of my row. I'm going to chain 2. That becomes the first stitch in the next row. And then what you're going to do is you're going to rotate your work so that you are now looking at the inside of your cardi, and you're going to work back up this row that you've just done all the way up to the neckline piece again. Okay, so again what we're going to do is another row of front post, back post, but instead of just going front post, back post, front post, back post, you're going to look at what's there. So for me, my next stitch is a front post. So can you see that this one is pushed out to the front? That's going to be a front post crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, push that one out to the front, grab my yarn, do my double crochet. So my next stitch is a back post, and it will follow the front post, back post repetition, but sometimes, depending on where you finish, that might have been a back post first, and then this one's a front post. So just have a look at your work, recognise what is and what isn't a front post, what is a back post, and we're just going to match them all the way along. So the next one is a back post. And then a front post. And we're just going to continue like that all the way up to the top of your neckline here. So continue to match them all the way along. So the next one is a back post. And a front post. So carry on, I'm going to meet you back at that neckline in just a few minutes. So we've just finished working up the side of our front panel, and we've come to our corner that leads us onto the neckline. And I'm just going to show you now in detail how we work around that corner. So the last one I've done is this front post double crochet here, and I've now got my 3 crochets, my 3 double crochets that went into that corner space. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do a front post double crochet or a back post double crochet on these 3. What we're going to do is just a double crochet into the chains at the top. So we're going to yarn over, I'm going to go into the chain after that first post. And then we're going to do a double crochet. You want to keep these fairly loose because what you want is them to sort of spread out like a fan to go around that corner. Into the next chain. Do your double, and I've got one more. Okay, so there you have, you see how they're sort of stretching out to go around that corner, but they have still turned the corner for you. So after that, you just want to pick back up on your neckline, and my first one there is a back post double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over and do a back post. And then you're just going to continue that all the way around until you reach the corner on the other side of your panel. Okay, so I've just finished around my neckline, and I'm now at the point where I'm on the corner of the neckline ready to go down the next side panel. So once again, I'm going to do those double crochets with you. So I'm going to take my hook and put it underneath the chain of the next one, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over into the next chain, keeping those nice and loose, into the next chain. And there's my 3 double crochets that turn us around the corner. and I'm ready to go into my next stitch, which is a front post double crochet, and I'm now working down the other side of my front panel of my cardi. So we're just going to carry on doing our front post, back post double crochet as before, all the way along this panel until we get to the end. And then when we get to the end, it's your choice again as to whether or not that's enough rib stitch for you or whether you want to do another row. So if you've finished, you simply finish off your ends and weave those in. If you haven't, just like before, you chain 2, turn your work and go back around. Okay, so by this point you should now finish the rib stitch around your front panels and your neckline. Here I've done 2 rows, but obviously you're welcome to do as many as you like, so long as you're happy with the way it looks. So you could have done 1, you can do 6, it's up to you. But I'm happy with these 2, so I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to put the rib stitch along the bottom of our cardigan. So you should have a working loop. If you haven't, don't worry, we'll just join the yarn back on again. But hopefully you've not cast that off or woven that off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull that loop big, slip out the hook, and what we're going to do is we're going to rotate our jumper. So I'm going to flip mine over, and all you want that to do is so that you've got the bottom of your jumper now at the top, and I'm actually going to flip mine inside out because I want to work this way but I need to go that way. So here I have the bottom of my cardigan at the top with my working loop on the right hand side of my work. Just excuse all these ends, they need weaving in, but that's a job for later. So we're now going to do pretty much what we've done previously, but we're now going to work back along this row. And it's up to you again how many rows that you put on this, but we're going to start with the first one. So first, you're going to make your first post by chaining 2. And again, what we're going to do down here is front post, back post, double crochet all the way along to the other side. And this is nice and simple because it's just one long whole side that you're going to crochet along. So the first one you're going to do is into this loop here. So I'm going to go ahead and make that a front post double crochet. And then my back post is going to go in here. There's my first 2 in. And then we're going to carry on as before. So we're working along the granny squares now. So we're going to do a front post in here. And a back post. Front post. Back post. And we're just going to carry on doing that all the way along. And this may or may not slightly bring in the bottom of your cardigan. If you don't like that look, we can sort that out when we come to blocking it at the end. But it's a tension thing really, so just try and keep a similar tension to the bottom of your cardigan. So it's a front post and a back post. Okay, so you're just going to continue to work that all the way along the whole bottom of your cardigan until you come to the other side. You're going to work it right up to this corner. I'm going to pause the video here and I'm going to work up to this corner so I can show you how to come up to this edge. And then just like before, we're going to rotate and go back along the other way. So I'll see you in a moment when I get there. Okay, so I've just finished the first row of front post, back post double crochet along the base of my cardigan, and I've just got to the corner with the last front panel. So I'm just going to do those 2 stitches. So I'm going to do a back post double crochet here and a front post double crochet here, and then we'll talk about your options for the next bit. So back post, and then one more, so front post. Okay, so you know you're done when you've got a nice straight line in both directions, and it's up to you now. So just like before, you can finish it here by doing your chain, pulling that through and weaving in your ends, or you can decide to make this row deeper, wider. And I like to do a good chunky rib stitch on the bottom of my cardigans, but obviously it's up to you and the length you want your cardigan to be, and I suggest you do try it on as you go to see how it's sitting on your body. So if you do want to extend that, we are going to do just like before. We're going to chain 2 and then we're going to turn our work. So I'm going to chain 2 and then we're going to flip our cardigan so that we are able to work back along the bottom of our cardigan in the opposite direction. And just like before, we're going to have a look at what was there. So my next stitch is a front post, and we're going to line up our front post with front posts and back posts with back posts. So here's the front post, and then we're going to put in a back post. Next is my front post, and we're going to carry on all the way along, lining up those front posts and back posts until you get to the other end. And then once again, you're going to decide whether or not you're going to add a chain 2 and do another row, or if you're going to finish your work, and you just carry on like that until you're happy with the depth of your rib stitch.